Hi. Yesterday I did a 10-hour time test. It is 7:30 in the morning. But yesterday I did a 10-hour time test on my home years portable power station, running my chest freezer. I also talked about how you could get solar um, hooked up to either one of these. I do have a solar cable here. You can use the cable that came with either one of these machines. This is the one that came with my Northpole Light. You will need to purchase a couple of these. I talked about that in my last video. If you want to be able to hook up solar pretty easily. So today I'm going to do a 10-hour test on this one. Here's my chest freezer plug. Let me plug this in. Excuse me. Turn that off and back on. I do believe it's on. Right now it's pulling 0 watts. My chest freezer will run for 10 hours on that other one. So we're going to check this one out today. Make sure it's even on. Yeah, it's on. So I'm going to do a 10-hour test on this one. I'm going to check this every hour. I'm going to write down the numbers. But I'm not going to make this video as long as the other one. I just got done literally merging all the videos together for that one. And it's like over an hour long. So I'm going to run this for 10 hours. And see what I can do with it. And then I will be back. And I'll let you know in a couple hours what it's doing. I will show you the readout. And I want to see if this will run for 10 hours like the other one did. If I recall, it was like 38.5% left of that battery capacity on that one. So I'm real curious to see about this one. Alright, that's it. I will be back after a while. Like I said, I will not be splicing all these a bunch of videos together today because it is just hectic to do. I just got done splicing everything together for the last video. Feel free to watch that one on the home years with the 10-hour runtime. And that it is running my Arctic King chest freezer. Both of these have a 500 watt DC to AC pure sine wave inverter built into them. So anything under 500 watts should be okay to run. Alright, that is it. I will be back. Bye. Okay, it has been 3 hours. I will record this every 3 hours on this 10-hour test. Because my last video, I had so many videos to splice together that it does freeze in a few places. So I want to keep this one a lot shorter. And I don't see people wanting to watch an hour video. So I'm going to make this one much shorter. So I am running and testing this Northpole Light. Now you can see the display did come on. You can see the AC. 37 watts is what it's pulling. It's at 76%, and that's at 3 hours. It jumps up to 37 watts. Alright, that's at 3 hours. Midnight, stay out of the way. So, I'm going to move this. No issues. It did jump up to 38 watts. It's still at 76%. Now, once again, this is going to be a 10-hour test. This one has less capacity than my home years does. That is a 518 watt hour. This is a 515 watt hour. So it's going to be interesting because that one still had power to spare at 10 hours. And I know that for a fact because when I charged that one, when you charge it, it takes 11 hours to fully charge from zero. So when I charged that one last night and into this morning, it took about 8 to 8.5 hours and not 11 hours to charge. So the batteries in that still had quite a bit of power. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one does running my chest freezer for 10 hours. If it even makes it to 10 hours. I don't know. The display on this one seems to work much better than the home years. But what you want is battery capacity and runtime. I wouldn't care if this had a display that showed 100% then 0% when it shut down. What you care about is runtime. Is it having this kind of display nice? Absolutely. I mean, the display on that one was stuck at 100% for 3.5 hours, which I did not like that. But once it started reading, it actually would read percentage points. Unlike this, like 76% here, that would read like 94.2 or 94.5. So you would have a better estimation of the power you have left. Because this could be a 76.1% or 76.9%. But it doesn't show you. Now, I don't have an issue really with the display. I just want to see if this will run my chest freezer here. And see, it just dropped to 75. Like I said, I didn't know if that was 76.1 or 76.9. And it just dropped to 75. So I want to see if this will actually run this for 10 hours. If it keeps going the way it's going, then this shouldn't have a big issue running this for 10 hours. But if you look here, it's 7:30 when I started 100%, 8:30 93%, 9:30 85%, 10:30 76%. So, and now it's at 75%. If this makes my 10-hour test, I'll be happy with it. But if this shows at 0 or like 1% at my 10-hour mark, then I would definitely have to say go with the one with the longer runtime if you want to buy a power station. But if you do want one that already has the 12 volt port where you don't have to make one or buy extra stuff, and if this makes my 10-hour mark, then this will be a good power station. Alright, I will be back. I'm fixing to go. It is 10:35. I will be back at 1:30. Like I said, I'm going to make this a much smaller video, but I will keep track every single hour of the percentage that it shows on the screen to let you know, and every 3 hours you're going to be able to see how much power it's been using. Alright, I will be back. Bye. Okay, here we are. It's 1:30. This is at 50%. It has been sitting at 50 for a little bit, so it should drop really quick. So this has been running for 6 hours and is down to 50%. Given the rate that this is going through, I would say 11 to 12 hours would not be out of the question. But since I'm only doing a 10-hour test, we will see what happens. Like I said, it's already been 6 hours and it is only down to 50%. So given that fact, if you figure 50% of the battery pack for every 6 hours, this would run through 12 hours. Now, once again, I cannot say what's going to happen until we're actually at 10 hours to see how much this is actually showing. But so far, this one seems to be doing a very good job, as well as the other one was doing. Once again, this is the Northpole Light. So, 50% at 6 hours. I would be happy if it hit 10 hours. Once again, at 10 hours, I will shut my test down. We will see the percentage in another 3 hours. That will be a 9-hour runtime, and that'll be 4:30. Alright, I will be back at 4:30. Okay, we are at 4:30. We are now at the 9-hour mark. This is at 27%. We have 1 hour left to go. I want to go ahead and open the chest freezer again. Make sure everything's going good on the inside. Absolutely. No issues. It is very cold in here. So 1 hour left to go. I do want to check one thing after this hits 10 hours. I want to see if this has pass-through charging. I did not check on the other one about that. And the thing is, even if that one did, I would never know, because the way that display works on the home meters. But the Northpole Light, with the way the display is, if this has pass-through charging, and I believe it will bring in 70 watts, and if it's only putting out 36 watts, you can still run your freezer off here and charge this at the same time. I'm not sure about that. I will find out when this hits the 10-hour mark, because that 27% is still going to go down some. But there's no doubt this is going to hit my 10-hour mark without an issue. 1 more hour to go. And it looks like it's been dropping about 8 to 9% per hour. It hasn't dropped 10%. From 7:30 to 8:30, it dropped 7%. Then from 93 to 85%, 85 to 96, that would be 9%. 96 to 67, 9%. 67 to 58, 9%. 58 to 50 was 8%. 50 to 41 was 9%. 41 to 35, you get it. And 35 to 27. So it looks like it's been dropping on the average of 8 to 9% per hour. And 1 hour to go. Once I hit the 10-hour mark, I will see if this has a pass-through charging feature. And if it does, you will know. So far, it is doing great. It's doing a good job running my Arctic King 3.5 cubic foot chest freezer. I do like the display on this one. I also like the way it does already have the 12 volt port here. But if you decide to buy something like this, this is a little bit more expensive than the home meters, but this has more features. And once again, this is only a 10-hour test. So anything over 10 hours that's on the battery pack, you'd have to figure in that extra amount of time. And once again, I will test the pass-through capability of this to see if you can have it plugged in and charging at the same time on something like this. So, you know, if your power comes back on for some reason for even a couple hours, if you can plug this in and get a little bit of this power back into the system, that would be a good thing. So we'll have to check that. Yeah, for some reason I had trouble turning everything on at the beginning. I did hold the power button in. I made sure it was on. I held the AC button down. For some reason, it just did not want to start. And then, I don't know, it just started. I don't know what I did to get it to start. So I have no clue about that or why it did that. Maybe I just didn't have the AC button held down long enough, or maybe I didn't have the start button held down long enough. I believe you have to hold it down for like 3 seconds to get it to power up. And the inverter, I believe you have to hold the button down for like 3 seconds. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, 1 hour left to go, and I will come back and we'll take a look at the percentage and what's left, and I will test the pass-through charging feature to see if it has one. Alright, bye. Okay, it is 5:30. This is a 10-hour runtime. It is completed. Now the battery itself is rating 0%, which I don't think that's exactly right, but that means at the very last hour, from 4:30 to 5:30, it dropped from 27% to 0% at 10 hours. It did run 10 hours. It is still going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up and see if it has pass-through to see if this can be charging. And it does have pass-through. I believe this will hit 70 watts. Oh, it's going higher than 70 watts. Okay, not an issue. I have no issue with this whatsoever. So it did absolutely run 10 hours. Unfortunately, I don't know why it jumped from 27% to 0% in the last hour. Because on average, let's take a look at this. On average, it's using 8 to 9% per hour for the first 9 hours. Then all of a sudden it dropped 27%. I do not believe that. Maybe it's a safety feature to let you know it needs to be charged up or it's getting low. So with the pass-through feature, what I recommend is if you buy one of these and say your power goes out, get everything working, plug your chest freezer in, and plug it in. Now the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of times your lights will come back on even for a half hour or for 45 minutes or maybe an hour. And with the pass-through feature here, it's bringing in 90 watts. And the battery is charging as well as powering the chest freezer. The input is 95, 96 watts. The output is 32 watts. So there's approximately 63 watts, 62, 63 watts of power going back into your battery. So it does have pass-through. If you would like more information on this, I do apologize at the very beginning. For some reason, this thing just did not want to start up, at least properly. I'm not sure what I did to get it to start up. So I'm adding an extra 5 minutes of time, which is not a big deal. I'm pretty sure this would have ran another 5 minutes, even saying 0. So I'm sure it would have ran another 5 minutes. So yes, this did hit my 10-hour mark, which, you know, it makes no sense for it to drop from 27% to 0. Like I said, maybe it's something in the system where it says this battery needs to be charged, so we're going to hit 0. because if you go by the 8 to 9% per hour and having 27% at 9 hours, I mean, that should have lasted another 2 to 3 hours. There's no doubt about it. But it did survive the 10-hour test. I did start that at 7:30 this morning, and it says 10 hours at 5:30 p.m. So yes, this did survive for 10 hours. If you want one with a power port on it, which is always a good idea, that's great. Like I said, this has the phone charging if you have a phone that charges that way. Personally, I think it's a waste of power. Your phone would charge much quicker if you plugged it into the USB. Okay, that is it for this test. I have to merge 5 or 6 videos together, and you can see pass-through charging does work, which means if you connected a solar panel to this, it would have some power coming in while you're using your power going out. That should help retain your battery much longer. But if you're in a real bad situation, your lights go out, once again, plug this in. That way, if your power does come back on, it will start putting power back into the battery. This does take 7 to 8 hours, or 8 to 9 hours, I forget, to charge. The other one takes 11 hours. See, it's already at 1%. That's what I'm saying. It can build up pretty quick with this pass-through charging, because this is powering the freezer and is putting enough power in here to start adding up the battery. Also, if you are trying to run a chest freezer and your power goes out, make sure it's full. As full as you can get it. Empty space in a chest freezer is a waste. You will use more energy if you have a lot of empty space in here. So if you have a small mini fridge, take whatever's out of the freezer part, put it in your chest freezer, or whatever you have, say up here in your large fridge and the freezer part. If you can get as much as you can get in here, it will stay colder longer and it will use less power, because it doesn't have to cool all that empty air. As you can see, it is building up. It may only be at 1%, but it is putting power back into the system while it's still kicking power out. So pass-through charging is on this unit. Alright, that is it. This is my 10-hour test. Like I say, I don't know why at the very end this went from 27 at 9 hours to 0 at 10 hours. I have no idea why it said that or why it did that. Like I said, maybe it's a safety feature to keep the batteries from being drawn down too much, because even lithium-ion batteries, it's best to only draw them down to 20%. So maybe this is built into this machine, but it doesn't matter. It hit the 10-hour mark. That's all that matters. And like I said, it's using 8 to 9% per hour. So, you know, at 8%, at 10 hours, that'd be 80% left, you know, that you've used. So, alright, if you have any questions about this, feel free to ask. Which one do I like out of the two? I did show this one earlier, yesterday. I'm not sure if I'll upload this today or not. But which one do I like? I actually like them both. They have different features. Once again, the phone charging is a waste. It is very highly inefficient. So if you're going to charge your phone, charge it through the USB ports. This one does have a 12 volt socket that I really like, because we have some things that plug into a 12 volt socket. That one has a longer battery capacity, but this one has a much better display. This one's a little bit more expensive, but if all you care about is running something and not caring about all the bells and whistles, and if you don't need a 12 volt socket, that one's cheaper and it has a longer runtime. As you can see on my test from my last video, or the video before my last video, we'll see. I have a kitty video to upload, so I may upload that between these two. I'll see about that. But this does have pass-through charging. I could not really check it on that one because the display was not working properly. Like I said, whatever you want to do is fine. If you want to buy one of these, great. If you don't, fine. But it ran my Arctic King 3.5 cubic foot chest freezer. Now there is something I want to show you. I want to open this again and show you how empty my chest freezer actually is. It's not super full. It's about halfway up. You know, so it is not full to the brim. If I was having to run this off of a power station, see, it's already at 2%. So pass-through is working perfectly. If I had to run this with the power out, I would fill every square inch of this as much as I could, because your compressor will kick on less, your freezer will work less, and it will save power. Alright, I am fixing to go, and look at that, it's already at 2%. So, you know, the pass-through charging is working great on this. If you want something with pass-through for under $200, if you want something that can run your chest freezer, once again, this is an Arctic King 3.5 cubic foot. Let me back up so you can see the chest freezer. If you want something that'll run this for probably 10 hours, maybe a little longer, like I said, if your power goes out, leave it plugged in. Because if your power comes back on, even for a half hour or an hour, it is charging, and that will give you extra runtime. You can hook this up to a DC to AC power inverter running off of solar. If you have a pure sine wave inverter and it's grounded, that is a must. It needs to be grounded. But you could hook that up to a DC to AC power inverter and actually get power coming in through solar. And then when the sun goes down, this will kick in. However you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not telling you what to buy or what to do. I'm telling you what I would do, because, well, I can. And you can also hook up solar to this. That's up to you. I would give it a passing score at 10 hours. It hit 10 hours. It would have ran at least another 5 minutes. So even at the beginning of the video where it did not want to turn on properly and did not want to work properly, I give that 5 minutes, okay? So yes, I will say this hit the 10-hour mark. And with the pass-through, with the light, with the DC power plug here, the DC port, and it has another plug, but it's not grounded. Let's see if I can get this back over here so you can see a little better. I have no issues with this. I just wish I could figure out why it didn't want to turn on when I first started the test. I have no idea what I did wrong. I haven't had a problem with it, and maybe I just didn't hold the button down long enough to get it to turn on. I don't know, but it came on and it works fine. You can see that it says AC there. Now, after 10 hours, my chest freezer is still froze. My food is still good. And it's charging with pass-through. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go because I have a lot of videos to merge together to be able to upload this. And that's going to take me quite a while. Hopefully this helps somebody out. Yes, this is under $200. I will not ever tell you to purchase something. If you want it, great, go for it. But this is under $200. Is it worth it? That is up to you. I can't tell you one way or the other. But it's definitely worth it to me to be able to run my chest freezer for even 10 hours. Alright, that's it. I'm finishing to go. Everyone have a good day or night. Bye.